Hi everyone. My name is Varsha and welcome to Study with Varsha. So we have studied two classes about Ansible and today the term is question answer. So today it's not like I have covered 30 question, 40 question. I have covered more than 100 question and I try to cover all the questions which interviewer can ask in the interview on the topic of Ansible. So if you will learn from this video, I'm damn sure, I'm giving you 100% surety that you are not going to miss a single question from the Ansible because I'm going to cover here each and every type of question, like for intermediate, for advanced, real life, each and everything. So without any further delay, let's start and be connected with me and please watch the video till the end. So you will be a master on Ansible, especially for interview. So yeah, first question that is for that up to first number to 15 number, it will be for basic to intermediate questions. The first question, if you are having, and one more thing, this question, if you have from fresher to up to the experience of 5 years, definitely this will be helpful for you. The first question is, what is Ansible? Correct. So we can say Ansible is an open source automation tool used for configuration management, application deployment, orchestration, and infrastructure provisioning. And this I already have discussed what means by configuration management. So in one word you can say Ansible is a configuration management tool. And why it is open source? Because it is free of cost, so it is open source automation tool. It is used to application deployment, orchestration also, and infrastructure provisioning also we can use Ansible. So you can see this like that also. Now the second question came in our mind, how does Ansible work? Okay, so we understand Ansible is a configuration management tool. Now how it work? So it means basically what is the workflow of Ansible. So you can say it work in an agentless architecture. So yesterday class, or I can say in the classes of Ansible, I have told you that Ansible is agentless. It means it doesn't require any agent to work. So you can say it work in an agentless architecture using SSH to connect from the control node to manage node and executes tasks defined in the YAML playbook. YAML is nothing but that will be in the form of key value pair. The third question is, what are the main component of Ansible? Components. So when we are talking about components, so we must have to know about control node, manage node, inventory, playbook, modules. If someone is asking about architecture, this is the same answer you have to give. Component architecture both are same. So you should have to know that there will be a control node, one manage node, inventory, playbook and modules. Modules is nothing but it's a kind of command line argument. With the help of that you can create anything. Now what is inventory in Ansible? Yeah, so that question I have discussed in my series also. What is inventory, even though we are going to learn here also. So inventory is nothing but it is a file, and inside the file what it contain, it will contain host names, and host name you all know that is in the form of IP address of target system, and it will define the path also. For example, etc Ansible host, so it will have IP address and it will have the target path. That is only inventory in Ansible. Now what are the types of inventory? So yesterday class also, or we can say second day of Ansible class, I have covered this. What are the types of inventory? Static inventory and dynamic inventory. So if you want to know more about it, you can refer to my class also. Otherwise you can say static and dynamic inventory. Now again, what is a playbook? So playbook is nothing but it will be in a form of YAML file that defines the task to be executed from the managed node. Now why does Ansible use YAML? Yeah, that's a good question. See, we can do with the help of module also. But why we are using YAML? So because YAML is a human readable and follows key value structures. So making automation script simple and maintainable. So yesterday when I was showing you the example, I was giving you okay name, do this thing, restart, service. So it is very, it is nothing but if you will see a YAML file, it will be like a human readable and simple English. So it is very easy for the users, so they can easily learn. Nothing special thing you have to do for this. You can just use it, and if you practice 2-3 times, you will automatically get it. So that's why we are using YAML in Ansible. Now, what is a module in Ansible? Yeah, that's a good question. So modules are reusable unit of code used to perform specific task that I have discussed, like yum, service, copy. So this is some modules. What is idempotency? Yeah, this question damn sure you are going to get in the interview. Idempotency ensures.
They had fat.
Sorry.
Day after wash, they had oily and flat. I have my love beauty and fat.
1 second.
To take me from flat to fat.
I'm really sorry, guys. Okay, leave it. Now, what is idempotency? Idempotency ensures that running the same playbook multiple times does not change the system if it is already in desired state. Are you getting what it is saying? It means, for example, if you had run a playbook, okay, and if the result is already there, second time it is not going to give the result. For example, take an example of a list. In the list, it has been written 1, 2, 3, 4, 4, 5, 5. Then what you will get the result? You will get 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 4, 2 times it has been written, but it is not going to give if already 4 is available. So in the same way, idempotency work in the Ansible. If the result is already there, it is not going to give the same result again and again. So this is idempotency nature of Ansible. Now, what is Ansible Tower? So Ansible Tower is nothing but it is a enterprise GUI version of Ansible. Now we called as a Red Hat Ansible automation platform, so same like Ansible Tower. Next is what is the difference between Ansible and Ceph and Puppet? So this also I have discussed in my series, but even though Ansible is agentless and it will connect with the help of SSH based, Ceph and Puppet are agent based, and I think this is more than enough. Yeah. What is Ansible configuration file? Yeah, Ansible configuration file is ansible.cfg, and it's very important. Okay, please keep in the mind. What is the default port used by the Ansible? So that is 22. What is become in Ansible? What is become in Ansible? See, this is a condition, okay, become a kind of thing we are using. So it is asking what it is. So it is used to privilege escalation, sudo access. So in that place it is used. Now, what is ad hoc command? That is a single line command to perform quick task without writing playbook. So same like module ad hoc is there. So in a single line, like you can write Ansible all -a yum install git -y, like that you can write and you will get all the things. Just a second, guys. Yeah, I'm sorry. Yeah. So now that you understand what is ad hoc. Now 15 question we have covered. Now from 16 to 30 we are going to discuss some question which will be of intermediate level. So what are the rules in Ansible? Yeah, this question is very important. If you have experience of up to 3 to 4 years, now this question they are going to ask. What is rules? So rules are nothing but it is used to organize the playbook into a structure format and reusable component we can use. Inside that we can use task, handler, template, was. So many things we can use. That is only rules in Ansible. Now what is handler? Here we have discussed handlers. So what is handlers? So handlers run only when notified by a task, commonly used for service restart. So handlers is nothing but when one task is depend on the another task. In that scenario we use handlers. And please, if you didn't watch my Ansible series, go and watch, then you will understand these questions very easily. Now, what is register in Ansible. Yeah, this question is very nice. Register in Ansible. So it will store the output of a task into a variable form. So that is nothing but Ansible, register in Ansible. What is when condition? See, when condition, it is very important. Even if you know any programming language, we use some conditions, loops. So in the same way in Ansible we use when condition, and that is used for conditional task execution. For example, install httpd first, if you have given. So when it will install, then you can, like I have discussed in the series, when the package manager will be yum at that scenario. So that way you can use the when conditions. Now, what is loop in Ansible? What is loop? So we can use to iterate over items. Iterate means one by one execution. So that is nothing but a loop in the Ansible. Now, difference between include and import. Import is for a static thing, include is dynamic. That was simple one. What is Ansible Vault? So Ansible Vault, see, every tool have something should be there for security purpose. So here in Ansible we are using Ansible Vault. What it will do, it will encrypt sensitive data like password and all. So that's why we are using Ansible. And there is some command like for example, playbook encrypt password, something like that. You can give the command and you will get the you will encrypt, that will encrypt the password. And there like lots of command is there, I have shared already, you can go through that. Now, how do you secure SSH in Ansible? Yeah, that's a good question. So we can use SSH key based authentication. Key based authentication is very good to secure any Ansible or anything. How does Ansible connect to AWS using Boto 3 Python SDK and AWS credentials? So this is something connect to the AWS. So this is some answer. In that way you can connect to the AWS. Now, what is dynamic inventory in AWS? Yeah, so dynamic inventory means it will fetch instance detail automatically using AWS inventory plugins. So this question also they can ask. Now, what is fact gather? This question, fact gather means Ansible collects system information using a setup module. So that setup module itself we called as a fact gathering. Now, what is delegate to? Delegate underscore to, what it is? So it will use to execute a task on different hosts. For example, if you have one main host and 4 slave servers, so on all server if you have to execute a task, then you can use delegate to. Now, what is tags in Ansible? Okay, so if we have a multiple things and we have write, okay, like for example anything, Git, Jenkins, Java multiple versions, and we want to uninstall only one particular thing, not all. Like previously in my classes I have shown you, okay, we can from outside also we can change and we can delete all the whatever we have installed. So in the place of present we will make it as a absent, okay, and in that way you can uninstall anything. But for example, if I want to install only one service, so in that scenario we used to tag it. So on the basis of tag we can uninstall one specific thing, or whatever the required thing we want to do, we can do that only, not all the things. Now, what is the difference between cell and command module? So command no cell processing, and cell support cell feature like redirection. Now, what is template module? Template module you use to copy Zinza to template files to manage the nodes. Now, 50 question, 31 to 50, it will be a little bit advanced level. So, but see, I have given one line answer. If you want, you can take a screenshot, or if you want, you can just comment in the comment box. I will give this PDF and you can get a different answer also. So how do you handle large scale deployment? Large scale deployment, how can you handle? So for large scale deployment, we will use dynamic inventory. We can use roles, tags, parallel execution. Now, what is serial in Playbook? Serial is nothing but control batch execution of task. Okay. Now, what is strategy in Ansible? Strategy defines execution method, like it is linear or free. So, how you are going to execute your method. Now, how do you troubleshoot failed playbook? So, this is the command use -vvv. So, you can check, or you can check logs, or you can validate YAML syntax that is in correct format or not. Now, how do you integrate Ansible with CI/CD? So we can integrate with the help of the pipeline for automated deployment. How do you manage secrets in production? So we can use Ansible Vault or AWS Secret Manager. Lots of things is there. Difference between Ansible and Terraform. So Terraform is for infrastructure provisioning and Ansible is for configuration management. What is check mode? Check mode means dry run. In Terraform also dry run is there. So with the help of check mode we can get to know what the result is or what the output is going to come. So without executing it, with the help of hyphen check, we can check the output as well. So that is nothing but check mode. How to run playbook for a specific host? So for example, this is the command ansible -playbook site.yaml or whatever the YAML file -1 web server. So this is the command. Now, what is Ansible Galaxy? It is used to install roles from the community. How to improve playbook performance? We can disable fact gathering. We can use async sneak. Sorry if I am pronouncing wrong. My pronunciation may be differ. And you can use pipelining. Now, what is async and POLL? So used for long running task. How to handle rolling updates? This is very important. So we can use serial and handlers, and with the help of that we can do rolling updates. What is the difference between vars and defaults? So vars are high priority and defaults are low priority, but both will do the same task. What explain real time AWS project using Ansible? So I have written that we provisioned a CC to using Terraform, then configured services using Ansible to install package, deploy app, and configure services automatically. But whatever you have experienced, you can say, or otherwise, if you don't know anything, you just simply say, no, in my company, we only use Ansible to install some packages. Then they will not ask much question, and you can learn one playbook to write, install like some services, Jenkins or something. So that will be very good. If you don't know all this thing, don't say that I have did this. No, don't say. Now, how do you manage multi environments like dev, QA, prod? So how can you will manage in the with the help of Ansible? So if you have managed, say yes. Otherwise, you can say I don't know. So if you say yes, then what you will say, using group vars and separate inventory files. See, how to handle failures using block, rescue, and always. What is Ginger 2? So templating engine used in Ansible. Now, what is connection plugin? So connection plugin is defines how Ansible connect, like SSH, local. Now explain Ansible architecture. See, one control node, then inventory, playbook, SSH, manage node, and module execution. So this is only architecture of the Ansible. Some question I'm going to discuss, that is scenario based. So suppose you have 50 EC2 server and you need to install Nginx only on server where OS is Amazon Linux. How will you do it? So, and they will ask to write. So answer will be use fact gathering, apply when condition based on Ansible distribution. And you can, if they will ask, you can write this, like for example, name install Nginx yum, name is Nginx, state is present, means it installed. Now apply when condition, when Ansible distribution is equal to is Amazon. So when Amazon is there, operating system, then only it is going to be present. So in this way you can do, and you have to remember this. And maybe because in the interview they may ask to write. Now your playbook is taking too much time. How will you optimize performance? So here we can disable fact gathering if not required, and we can use Fox in ansible.cfg, that is configuration file. Now we can use async for long running tasks and use serial for batch deployment, and we can enable SSH pipelining. Third question they ask, a task field in the middle of a deployment, how do you handle rollback? So you can use block, rescue, always maintain backup before deployment, or use version based deployment strategy. For example, block, name new versions, like that you can write. And see, if you don't know, just remember this, and if they are asking in the interview, just write it. How do you manage different environments, dev, q, and prod? So again, same question. I think I have already covered this. Now you need to restart service only if configuration file changes. How? So we can use handlers, use notify plus handler. So I hope you understand this. Now how do you secure password in Playbook? So using Ansible vault command, or Ansible-vault encrypt file.yaml. Now how do you integrate Ansible with CI/CD? We integrate Ansible in Jenkins pipeline, code push, then it will go to the Jenkins trigger. Then Terraform creates EC2, Ansible configured EC2, and Ansible application will get to deploy. Now you need rolling deployment with zero downtime. How you will do? The answer will be use serial, load balancer deregistration, health check validation. That is example, serial to deploy 2 server at a time. Now how do you dynamically fetch AWS EC2 instance? So the answer is use AWS dynamic inventory plugin that will require Bo23, AWS credentials, AWS EC2 plugin config. The next question is, how do you handle 100 server efficiently? So this question I have discussed, but this is just advanced level or scenario based question. So I'm going to describe in little bit different way. First thing will be, we will use it grouping in inventory. Third thing will be, we will use roles, parallel execution, dynamic inventory, tag based execution. Now there is some advanced real-time project questions which we are going to discuss. The first question is difference between import role and include role. So import role, that is used for static, and include role, that is we are going to use for the dynamic. So that is the answer. Now how do you handle long running DB migration? So we can use async 600 for long running DB migration, and poll will be 0. Now how do you reduce SSH connection overhead? So we can enable pipelining is equal to true, or in Ansible.cfg. Ansible.cfg is nothing but Ansible configuration file. Now how do you manage secret in Ansible? Best thing, Ansible Vault, AWS Secret Manager. Now explain a real project where you have used Ansible in AWS. And that is very strong answer for 3 to 5 years of people. So if you really used, you can say your answer. Otherwise what I am going to tell you, just learn this and say to your interviewer. So in our project, we can say in our project, Terraform was used for provisioning EC2 instance in AWS. After provisioning, Ansible was used to configure server by installing Java, Tomcat, Docker, and application dependencies. Now we used dynamic inventory to fetch EC2 detail and implemented rolling update using serial deployment. And you can also say Ansible Vault was used for securing DB credentials. So this answer is more than enough to impress your interviewer. Now that is a trap question. Why Ansible if we already use Terraform? Why? So the best answer is Terraform is used. Why we use Ansible if already Terraform? So Terraform is used for infrastructure provisioning, whereas Ansible is used for configuration management and application deployments. So Terraform creates EC2, VPC, etc. and Ansible configure those server. Now Ansible advanced and architect level question, that is plus 5 years. How do you design an Ansible architecture for 100 or thousands of servers? So we will use dedicated Ansible control node like with high CPU and RAM. We can use dynamic inventory like AWS plugin, and we can use role based structure, and we will use parallel execution like increased forks, or we can use load balancing control nodes if needed, and we can integrate with CI/CD pipeline. We will maintain separate environment inventory. See, if you have experienced more than 4 or 5 years, then only you are going to say. Otherwise, say I don't know, my seniors used to do. They will not say anything. Okay, or you can just say simple things. Don't say yes, I have done like that. Okay, that is a trap question. Now, how do you scale Ansible in enterprise environment? So we can say use Red Hat Ansible automation platform, use execution node, implement RBAC concept, central logging, job scheduling, and workflow templating or templates. Now, explain Ansible execution flow internally. So that is parse inventory, load playbook, gather fact, establish SSH connection, push module to remote nodes, execute module, remove temporary files. Ansible used Python module execution remotely. Next question is what are Ansible strategy? So that is linear and it will be default. Free means parallel execution without waiting, and that will use for performance tuning. Now, how do you handle configuration drift? So we can use idempotency playbook, run scheduled Ansible jobs, compare actual versus desired state, use compliance playbook. Now, how do you implement blue-green deployment using Ansible? See, if you really have done, tell yes, otherwise skip this question. I'm going to skip it. If you want to know, you take the screenshot, but I did, but for you people I have written. Now, how to implement zero downtime deployment? So this is good question. So you can say use serial based deployment, deregistered mode from load balancer, deploy and validate, and deregistered node. How do you optimize large playbooks? Use roles, disable fact gathering, use tags, reduce SSH overhead, and use snake task. So this is the some question which we have discussed. I think it is more than enough for today. Okay, so thank you for watching Study with Varsha. Have a great day guys, and please share with your friends if someone really necessary, because if you will go through this thing, I don't think that you need extra thing to prepare about the topic of Ansible. You are going to like you are going to be sure 100%, and I'm sure that you will answer all of the question in any interview. So thank you for watching Study with Varsha. Have a great day guys.